Hey, you guys, look where we are today. We are here at the Red and Blue building for a day of empathy. We're going to interview some amazing people. We're going to find out what the day of empathy is. One thing that I do know, it's embracing holistic healing. So if you ever thought about holistic healing, this is the interview and this is the place to be. So join us and meet us in the inside for holistic healing, embracing empathy.
And they would tell me, well, Miss Jones, you're going to see what it's like when you get out. They said it's hard. People say they're giving you a second chance, and you can't get a second chance. You have no jobs, you can't get a place to stay, so it makes you go back to doing what you was doing before you went to prison, and that's how we all ended up back here. So I journaled a lot, I read a lot, self-help books, and I said, you know what, girls, when I get out of here, I'm going to do something with reentry. And they say, you know what, Miss Jones, if you do something with reentry, we're going to come see you. I said, okay then. So they challenged me, and I'm always up for a challenge. So now, fast forward, I've been working with the city of Little Rock for four and a half years. And we're now listed as a resource in the prison system. I go in for the first time, I'll be going into ADC during reentry month, which is in April, and I'll be going and speaking about the things that we do with reentry. We help a lot of people with jobs. We help a lot of people with housing, and that's, to me, that's the narrative, to change. To get out here, I'm not saying that everybody go to prison don't deserve to go to prison, but when you get out and you do your time, you do deserve a second chance and you want that. And that's what we're here for. So I respect that. I respect you, all the work that you do, and everybody else that's doing this work with reentry. It's not easy all the time. It's not. Everybody that you meet coming home, they have different situations, different circumstances. Some are very institutionalized. But you also have some that genuinely made mistakes, and they genuinely want a second chance. And those are the ones that I want to work with. Because I know reentry works for them because I am reentry. So, thank you all for giving me
Actually celebrates 7 years at the end of this month. I have spent time in Placer County Jail recovering IV drug addict. My thing was Roxy, heroin, meth was the last one, but probably the worst one. My addiction was horrible. And when I tell people that if I can do it, they can do it, I truly mean that, because you hear all the time that people say I should not be here today, but I literally should not be here today. I went out of my way to try to end it because I was too chicken to do it myself, so I tried to do it through other abusive men, drug overdose, whatever the case may be. I just wanted to be gone. I felt like I was a burden to my family, and I just felt like that was a waste of life. I always wondered why, when I had friends that would pass and overdose, why them, why not me? Why am I special? Why should I get to still be here today? I'm very grateful that God showed me a way out of that. And I would like to say that one of the main things that kept me going was my family. I've been extremely, extremely, extremely blessed that my family has never left me. And I've put them through some things. I couldn't even tell you how much I've stolen from them, the pain that I've put them through. My mom is an angel. I think something, I always share this, that sticks with me. Oh my gosh, I hate something that will stick to me till forever. My mom, if you knew my mom, she's a strong, strong person. She contemplated suicide because she thought and I wasn't gonna make it. I can't imagine making somebody feel like somebody as strong as her. So I say that to say I got clean for me, but seeing my mom proud of me, that is a feeling like no other. I've been in treatment 7 times, gone to another state. My mama literally put me in a chokehold one day and drove me to Louisiana. I'm not playing. She wanted me to live. She was serious about getting her baby to live. She went to whatever means necessary. She would stay up all night when it was storming, cold out, and I wasn't home. She'd be looking for me. She was so worried that I was out on the side of the street somewhere or somewhere where, just dead. She had to take a lower job than me because she couldn't keep up with the job that she had. And she worked her butt off for that job. You don't get people like that in your life that often. And I'll be forever, ever grateful to her. On to the happier times now. I got sober after my 7th time in rehab. I did some time at RPF and a little time in the jail, which thankfully I never had to do a lot of time, but it was enough time for me to not want to go back. I'm not sure if you all are familiar with Glass County Drug Court. I went through the program when Judge McGowan was still on the bench. Somehow I graduated. I slipped up a couple of times, and the really cool thing was the last time I slipped up, I was able to be honest with my counselor and my probation officer. I was like, just completely blown. And I started to shoot up again. I need help. Like, this is about to be bad. And when that time came, I ended up with psychosis at Baptist, and that was it for me. The judge wanted to send me back to RPF, and she told me if I ever messed up again, it'd be 24 months. But they stood up for me, and she let me go to treatment instead. Since that day, well, I'll say since the day after that, because I wanted to commit suicide when I first got to that treatment center, because I was at my lowest of lows. I felt like I was going to keep doing this. And God intervened once again. And I woke up that next morning and I was like, okay, you're going to give it your all one more time. Just one more time. If it doesn't work, go back to your other plan, but just try one more time. And that day has stuck with me. When I was 6 months clean, I was pregnant with my son. An amazing experience. Wasn't supposed to have children. God saw it fit for me to be a mother. Never thought that would happen. Never thought I would deserve that. Everybody says that. I'm really emotional lately. Okay. Everybody says God sent him to me, and that is a true statement. Because I can't tell you how many times when I was in my early recovery, I would just look down at him if I wanted to go use or drink or whatever the case may be. I just felt like saying, screw it. I would look down at him and I was like, I can't do it. I've got to be a mom to him. He's 5, and he is, tells my mom, one of my main motivations to this day. Being a mom is amazing. Even being a single mom. That was a hard but really cool experience. You really don't realize, and I give it up to anybody in here that is a mom, single mom, whatever, because you really don't know how hard it is until you go through it. And it just made me a stronger person. I still have my trials here and there, but I managed to push through. And I try to tell people every day when I see them in the jail, one, I tell them I've been in the same exact spot as you. So if I'm on this side, you can be on this same exact side as me. You just got to choose. It's just I almost my train of thought there, sorry. But I don't know. I don't even know. This has been an amazing experience, and it's crazy that she asked me to speak today and kind of tell my story. I've gone the last 2 months through a really difficult time. probably one of the hardest since I've been. But standing up here and telling y'all where I've been through, it helps me realize that how far I've come and how much I need to push through it. I'm very grateful for my life today, and I'm grateful for the people that support me. Especially that woman up there. She has saved me a lot, and she's put up with a lot. She's like a second mama to me. And in this group, you see me through thick and thin too. She's seen me since I was like 6 months away. So when she says she's seen me grow, it's physically also. We've gone through some stuff. But addiction's hard, recovery's hard, but living is completely worth it. And I'm going to leave it at that, so I can probably more. Here you go. Thank you.
The systems. We're always concerned about those systems, especially our electoral systems, our health system, our social justice system. We're looking at our economics of our systems, and part of our mission at that 501c3 is to look at the systems and how they're impacting individuals' lives, especially those people living with HIV. For those of you that know, our organization has been doing that outreach, at least myself, I've been doing outreach for more than 10 years. However, as a person living with HIV for more than 30 years, it's been my pleasure to continue to educate and advocate that healthcare is for everyone. And that we need to make sure that we have equity and that we try to make sure that we understand how they access healthcare. You know, I'm really concerned about the long-term care situation because I'm 63 and maybe I might need some long-term care later on. Hopefully there'll be something there available for me. Hopefully something that can be affordable, something that will be respectable. Our organization also advocates for that type of healthcare as well because we're concerned about people, the quality of their lives, where they're living, and a lot of people who come into the office, a lot of times I like to meet them where they are and say, you know, how are you living? You know, what's going on in your life? Because when you come to the office where I am and you see me sitting behind the desk, you think everything is all good with me, but I need to know, how are you living? What's going on with your life? How can we perhaps create a bridge for you or create resources in our facility as to what we can do to help you with where you are? That's the reason we believe in that holistic approach, because we don't think there's a part of a person, even though we do sexual health and all of that, we like to deal with the full person. Everything about them. You know, do they have food? Do they have housing? Do they have referrals perhaps for insurance? Do they need educational situation? Sometimes some people that come into our office, they just won't need to sit there and listen to them for a few minutes. I can tell you that's been most beneficial for me in the last couple of years. It's just listening to people, because you just never know what their stories are or how they're going to impact you. When we were on the radio yesterday, was it yesterday?
Wednesday.
Your story really impacted me, and I thought about that after I left this radio station, how that was such an impactful statement and testimony that you gave while we were doing the radio. And I thought about it all evening, that it is important that as an agency like ours, is that we do try to make those connections, those collaborations. We try to have those courageous conversations that people do not necessarily have. Because a lot of times we don't want to have a conversation about sexual health, but it's very important. Just so you know, there are still 30,000 new HIV acquisitions each year in America. 30,000. We've been dealing with HIV for more than 4 decades, 40 years. I've been dealing with HIV for more than 30 years. But the thing about it is that we do have great breakthroughs. We do have advocates around here advocating for funding. We've got people who are returning from incarceration, and we've got to also address those issues, make sure they understand how we can help them. So for myself and the work we do in Southwest Iraq, and really around the state, our mission is to try to make sure that we don't stay in a silo to ourselves, that we collaborate with people who try to policy, we meet with mothers who are on a mission, to see how we all can put our heads together so we can change things in our state. Believe it or not, when we talk about policy and talking about things, HIV is criminalized in this state. If you do not disclose your HIV status, you could serve in prison up to 30 years. You could be classified as a sex offender. That's right, that is today here in Arkansas. And we are also trying to begin to try to educate people about the fact that that statute is still on the books here in Arkansas. We don't criminalize diabetes. We don't criminalize many other chronic diseases. But for HIV, that is still on the books here in the state. So there's a lot of work to be done. I'm still, even though it's like age, I still stay in the fight each and every day. We're trying to coach and hopefully.
In 2021, I had to bury 2 of my adult children 4 months apart due to fentanyl poisoning. My daughter, Deja, lived in the house with me. We lived together, so I watched my daughter go through her addiction. My son Roderick was in prison. I had no idea what was going on in their prison. When Holly spoke of her mother, it tore me up. Because I know the pain that her mother was going through. After having to bury my children, my daughter asked me, well, first of all, let me back up. My daughter, when my daughter passed, my other daughter, because I'm a mother of 4 children, I should have mentioned that. My daughter said, are you going to tell anybody why Deja died? I said, if they ask. I mean, I didn't even think about hiding it. Because people are embarrassed to talk about fentanyl deaths. That's the subject that gets swept up under the rug. I didn't think about it. 4 months later, I get a call from the prison, from an inmate on his cell phone, letting me know that my son had died from taking a pill. 4 hours later, the prison officials decided to call me. So after having to bury both of them, I said, wait a minute. Why didn't I know that this drug was out here and it was this bad? I mean, I had heard of it, but of course, I didn't care anything about it. It didn't affect me, you know. But after my children passed, I said, if I didn't know about this, it's other parents out here that does not know how bad this drug is. Because it seems to be that everybody thinks it's a joke. Like I said, they sweep it under the rug. Nobody's talking about it. I said, I can't do this. So I went on a mission. I went on a cold mission to let everybody know what happened to my children, and I wasn't holding back at all. I wasn't sweeping nothing under the rug. Now the thing about fentanyl, some people know what they are doing. But it's not fair for a person that's in addiction, or they just popping a pill because they kicking it with their friends and they die. A lot of that is happening in college. Parents, we gotta be aware of what's going on with our children. We gotta be nosy. We gotta snoop. Go in their bedrooms when they're not there. Go through their cell phones. Fentanyl is killing more people between the ages of 18 and 45. It's bad. And I want to let everybody know about it. Especially the ones that were like me, that were naive. And it breaks my heart. And so I am so grateful to be the Health and Justice Ambassador for the Public Health is Public Safety Campaign for Dream.org. Because, like I said, I'm going to scream and shout it to the rooftops. Somebody is going to hear my voice. We are going to do something about this epidemic.
You think you have are limited because your choices are constrained. People are making decisions about what you can and cannot have in your life. And our contention is, my contention is that if your choices are constrained, your freedom is an illusion. And it really bugs me as I sit around and think, if I go to get health care I need, people have made choices about what I can and cannot have. Even in the choices of my personal economy, if I wanted to try to start a business or pursue a career path, there are people who say whether I can or cannot do that. And that's even more so for those that are coming into reentry. So I looked over, because I don't, and Ruby understands this too, and so does Jason McGee, my deputy, I do not work on things that I don't think will improve the quality of life for individuals. If I improve quality of life...
Okay, you guys, we're here with
Ryan Norris,
with
Americans for Prosperity.
Okay, so tell us about your project and everything that you're doing with the Day of Empathy.
Yeah, so in our organization, one of the fundamental principles that guides the policies that we work on is the concept of human dignity. At the bare minimum, we must make sure that our public policy that's being created by our lawmakers includes the human dignity element in it. And that just means the right of the individual to achieve their own destiny. Our thoughts is, if you have the maximum amount of freedom, you can find or create the opportunities that you need to be prosperous in your life. And what you need for prosperity and what I want for prosperity are totally different things, but we need the environment in which those things can happen. So nowhere is there more barriers to prosperity than in the area of particularly reentry in our justice system. And so for us, we like to focus on policies that are allowing people to reintegrate into society with as few barriers as possible, because once you've paid your debt to society, that should be the end of it. And we want to make sure that government moves from being the punisher to being the helper in helping people get further along in their life.
So, well, let me ask you this. If anyone that was trying to get back in society, is it a price for that, a cost? How do they get involved?
With getting involved with Americans for Prosperity?
Yes.
Oh, yeah, no cost at all. We're a grassroots organization, much like Dream.org is. And so those that work with us, we help equip and train people to be activists and have their own voice. That's very important to us. It's not just about, hey, we've got things we're doing, come along, but it's like, what do you see are the barriers, and can we help you create the skill set and the experience to build a community that will bring your voice to those that are making decisions for us in our state and in our nation.
Okay. So for anyone that's willing to get involved, how can they locate you?
So what they can do is they can go to believenar.com to get a hold of me, Ryan Norris, at the local chapter here in Arkansas, or you can go to americansforprosperity.org or .com and connect with us on the national level. But we are a nonpartisan, nonprofit organization that works in public policy, and we believe more voices need to be included in our political and policy processes.
Up in that jail system, they love her. Even when she telling them, suck it up, buck up. But Ms. Kathy, I just want you to just give us a brief of why you do what you do.
Aww. You gonna make her cry.
Lord, you're gonna take everybody up to jail cries when we get through. I have come to realize that I do what I do because it's what I have to do to heal my own heart. I too lost a son to fentanyl poisoning in 2019. And I lived with opioid addiction for 19 years before that. So I had to learn pretty quickly about addiction and all the warts and scars that come along with it. Because addiction is a family disease. We walk with our children through it. My son was a beautiful soul. Quick-witted, smart, well-spoken, went to private schools, went to college. but all the time we fought the dragon. Started using Oxycontin in high school from a football injury. Easily prescribed in 2002, 2003. Anybody could get a script. I knew nothing about addiction, and so I ignored it. I said, it's a phase he's going through, all of those things, because nobody talked about addiction. You know, we were ashamed, but we felt responsible. But after many overdoses, and as I watched my son fight a battle of 19 rehabs, he fought hard, but he lost. And I lost myself in my son's addiction. I realized that when he had a good day, I had a good day. And when he had a bad day, I had a bad day. And I prayed and prayed and was so angry with God. Because how could he let this happen to my beautiful boy? But I decided one day, with a lot of help, that I had to begin living for me.
Yeah, you gotta talk so they can hear you. I love the way you talk. Hello? No, just
That's not the voice I hear sometimes.
Hey, now.
There you go.
No,
There you go.
come on.
That's the voice I hear.
Miss Ruby? No. No, I'm just playing. Thank you very much. I'm very honored. Being a part of the program with Miss Kathy and Miss Ruby, you know, and all the other ones that come in and volunteer their time, it wouldn't work without them. So we're very grateful for those that come in and volunteer their services and just make the men and women there feel like they are somebody. Because when you are incarcerated, you do feel lowest of the low, you know, having a bar of soap that's this big as opposed to body wash, a scrub, a sponge, even a wash rag that hasn't been reused 500 times means a lot. So it's the little things that help. But we also have to be very cautious of what we bring in and how it can be used in other ways. And so that's what I look at on my end. I have no problem saying no. Most of the time I say yes, just as long as it's prepackaged food. Don't bring nothing in that you made at home. Try not to make it with peanuts or shellfish. But I'm very grateful for this. Thank you so much. Thank you guys. There's no funding. No funding. Did you just hear what I said? Y'all think I don't sleep? She don't sleep. But I love this woman. We travel on highways, byways, sleep in the same bed. I love her, y'all. This is my sister. From another business.
Ruby. Oh my God. We have done some crazy stuff. One time I had a hotel paid for in DC.
Oh yeah.
Anyway, I was just like, Ruby, you stay in my room because somebody else is also paying for my room over here. I'm gonna sneak you into this room. Anyway, we do some crazy stuff. And for the first time I met Ruby, it was because somebody else, I wasn't even living here in Arkansas, but my mother was dying. I was raised here in Arkansas, Charleston, near Fort Smith, and had the greatest parents in the world, raised me right. Somehow my mom, and she's my rock, like so many people have, like you were to your son, and Holly's mother was to her. And I have one other sibling, suffered mild retardation, And so I think all the chips were kind of on me, not because, any judgment. It's just, my mother really wanted to have grandbabies, and so it's kind of like when you follow the recipe and you do everything right. She was the editor of the newspaper in Charleston, and she was a one-man show, and she drove to all our basketball games, and she took pictures, and my dad kept moving us out further and further into her own farm. She learned to garden. She put them through SMU. They were from Dallas. We moved to Arkansas when I was 5. Back then, everybody sewed their clothes. She worked so hard. Dad traveled. Somehow we ended up on a farm with cattle and chickens, and we're going out and feeding the cattle in the morning before I would walk. I really am that age where I would walk a quarter of a mile. I know everybody thinks their grandparents walk their quarter of a mile to catch the bus, but my mother was my rock. And I went 1 year to college. Somebody wanted to take some pictures of me and thought I should try to model. I said, you know what, I want to go see the big bad world out there. So I went to Dallas and never looked back. Always came home for Christmas, but I fell in love with a guy who had checked every box, and he really swept me off my feet. Stanford Law School graduate, owned some businesses, got involved in MDMA when it was legal, and long story short, I left him after 3 years. I had to get away from him. He was a womanizer. I don't need to tell my whole story, but I had to get out of there. And I moved to Los Angeles, and he got arrested in Germany, and the feds busted into my house out in LA about 9 months later and gave me an ultimatum and said, you're either going to cooperate with us, or you're looking at 20 to life for conspiracy. So, the way I felt about it was, well, why don't you just put a gun to my head and get it over with? Because they were destroying my house. They were laughing while they were doing it. Evil was, I just felt like I couldn't even process what was going on. We all know what the drug war looked like, especially back in the late 80s. And they hounded me for 2 years to cooperate. And the analogy I want to get back to with my mother is that she did everything right. And you know, when you follow the recipe and you put the cake in the oven and it comes out flat. What happened to me, I could go on and make excuses about how I didn't deserve the 24 years. They dragged me away to Texas. I got 24 years, but I was not going to cooperate with these people and infiltrate my estranged husband's organization for them to wear a wire and do all that stuff. But my mom kept it a secret. I went off to federal prison. She didn't want anybody in the little town of Charleston to know, because bridge and church and everybody would be talking. But Glamour magazine did an article on me, and my mother thought nobody in Charleston would read it or see it. And it wasn't long before the whole town was buzzing. And the outpouring of love and concern and desire to help, I'm going to tell you something. It was Arkansas, in the little bitty town of Charleston, Arkansas. Some of you guys may know Senator Bumpers was from there. And Senator Bumpers got behind me, Senator Pryor got behind me. They said, we are getting her out of prison before Clinton leaves office. But it was not easy, because Clinton was already in trouble for having situations with other women. People say, oh, you're blonde and you're pretty, that's why you got it. Well, it wasn't actually that easy, because he was, why did this woman in Arkansas get it? So 60 Minutes got involved. Long story short, it was Arkansas that brought me home. So many people got involved, and I owe so much to the state of Arkansas, and so much to people like Ruby, who brought me into the county jail for the first time and allowed me to speak to people about my situation, and I agree with this gentleman here, storytelling is everything. And to wrap it all up, told God, I went in saying, I don't care what's going to happen, whatever's going to happen is going to happen, but God has me. And 9 years later, I got out on clemency by Clinton, and I had told God so many times, if you will have mercy on me, I promise you I will help other people come home. So when I got out, I started Can-Do Clemency for All Nonviolent Drug Offenders, and we're still going, and I have over 150 people on the website that we've advocated for. Obama really catapulted it into the mainstream. But
But yeah, I mean, I would just about say anything. You know, I'm not a cusser, but you wish I was cussing instead of the way that I'm speaking to you. But I've learned and I've grown to know that the only reason why I was bucking against the system and being so hard on people was because I'm a super empath. And Holly, I didn't want anybody to know that I was a hard. So I would be mean. But now that I found my soft girl, I love it here. And I'm okay with being my soft girl. I'm okay with crying. Because I truly believe that our tears are captured in a bottle. And so with that being said, you guys can get in line and be served by our beautiful, beautiful women, my baby sis over there, Sanisha Davis, Shanika Jones. And what's your name, Danielle?
Danielle.
And Danielle, I'm just meeting her today. She's with Creative Expressions. Y'all are going to treat. So, go be something.
It's been rolling, so whenever you're ready.
Okay, you guys, if you were not here, you missed a amazing show, a day of empathy, and I'm gonna let Miss Ruby do our closing, and she can say whatever she want to say on camera, because you are an amazing person. We really love everything that you're doing in the community. This is Black history. You are Black history.
Thank you so much. I love this chatterbox. So y'all, listen. The Day of Empathy, like I said, is the largest national day of criminal justice reform. And tonight we brought in a lieutenant from the Sheriff's Department who I honored. I brought in the director of the reentry program from Pulaski County Detention Center, and I brought in Amy Povo of Can-Do Clemency, who has written so many passages for people to get released from the federal prison. I love all of you. I thank you guys for showing. Listen, I was so surprised to see my sister walk in with her camera and everything ready. But y'all, let me tell you something, and I want y'all to really, really listen to what I'm saying. We are working on certificates of needs, which is focused on our seniors and our juveniles who truly, truly need mental health treatment. We do not need to be allowing the system to lock our babies up in a prison when they actually need psychiatric help. So this Sunday at 3 p.m. at 900 South Pine, I will be there with Lakeisha Bragg's ministry, and we will be doing postcards to the legislatures. If you're able to make it, please be there. If you want to reach out to me, you can reach me at welchruby45@yahoo.com. That's WELCH-RUBY45@YAHOO.com. Or you can reach me at ruby@dream.org. RUBY@DREAM.org. And my phone number is 501-538-2741. Again, 501-538-2741. Please text me before you call me because I don't like answering anybody's number. Text me, tell me who you are, tell me what you want, and I promise you, if I can assist you in any manner, shape, form, or fashion, I will. God has blessed me to be a resource. I thank God that I am able to turn my pain into power, and thank everyone who came out tonight, and let's keep the good fight going.
All right, y'all, and she just spoke the gospel. Again, I thank you, Miss Ruby, for inviting us. This was an amazing show,
Appreciate you for
amazing
coming.
event, and I can't wait till the next one.
Oh, it's gonna be soon.
Hey, again, thank you.